Whoa, what's this? A webcam? Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, this is gonna be a weird, different thing that I wanted to do for today. But man, am I tired of Trello? I love Trello. Trello's fantastic. But I ain't paying $100 for a to-do task list, so I've been sticking with the free version of Trello. I've pulled it as far as I can. They give you the ability to create 10 boards with your personal account, and then if you have like a studio, that's 10 more boards free. Now they are limited to, you can't assign members of the board to tasks. You gotta pay, the 120 buckaroonies or something, whatever the heck they're. Let's see, what is their cost? Yeah, you gotta pay a bunch of stuff, which, whatever. If you're a business owner and not a programmer, then you're more inclined to pay. But me knowing how much really goes into creating something like Trello, I'm like, you know what, $5 a month maybe. I would have been fine. But you know what? No, I'm gonna go ahead and maybe put together my own version of Trello. And this is also in line with my relatively recent quest on trying to get off proprietary and cloud-based software, and anything that I work on, I'd like to have a local system on. So let's do this. I'm gonna be developing something that's easy to set up and deploy. And I know that there's a bunch of other task managers like Trello out there on the internet already, but my God, why is everything using Node.js? Why is everything on Python, Flask, or whatever Pythonic backend people are using? Why does everything need to be on these bloated platforms? Why can't you just make something simple? PHP, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That's all you need for a happy life. Happy life, happy wife. So we're gonna make something that literally works on anything. Okay, we're gonna use PHP for backend, MySQL for database storage. We're gonna use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript with minimal amount of bloat. Hopefully, I'm only gonna really rely on like jQuery and jQuery UI for user interface stuff. Yeah, it's like I'm gonna see if I can set it up in such a way where you can literally just run like a local web server, or you can just install it on whatever, copy paste it on your website, and that's it. You'll just run. So let's see. We need to get WAMP because WAMP is going to be handy. We could use Universal or Uniform Server Z or USB server. Those are also fine solutions for doing stuff like this. But I suppose for this one, we're just going to use Uniform WAMP server, because WAMP server can allow you to handle multiple projects at the same time, and you can tell it to use an external folder as a source of your website. So I can have like a folder that is being watched by a GitHub repository that isn't in the web server, but the web server is using that folder to display the website. So, oh yeah, and because this is running on an actual web server, you'll be able to access it locally on your network just by using the IP address of the computer that's hosting the thing. So that's going to be handy. Okay, now let's set this up. This is going to be from ground up. Yep. English excerpt. Yep. Oh, oh boy. Okay, we need for distributables. All right, so what do we need? 2015 to 2022. Not install WAMP on existing service. Okay, would you have killed you if you just included some links? Okay, fine. Redistributable packages. BC 10, 13. Okay, so let's quickly look this up. C++, distributable. This is only meant for development. So what is it? 2014, 2015, 2017, yada yada. There's like a wording for it. Oh, there we go. This is what we need. 64-bit. Yay! Okay, let's download this. Let's get this installed. I didn't have a problem using Uniform Server Z or USB server. They're very like minimal pocket-sized web servers, which you can use to host a tool like this. But okay, just give it a sec to go through its motions. There we go. Okay, close. Now. Oh, well now it's complaining. Oh, hey, look at that. Hold on, I'm gonna run this again, just in case. I want to make sure that it's actually not complaining. Yep. Yep. Okay. What do we have here? VC 2022. So I guess that would be... Why does it need 2022, though? That makes no sense. 2015 to 2022. Well, it's right here. Unless it wants the 64-bit version of it. Or 32-bit version. It's either that or it needs me to reboot the computer. Man. Alright, you know what? Let's keep it simple. No Uniform Server Z. Let's get whatchamacallit. No WAMP server, that is. We're gonna get Uniform Server Z and work with that. Download. Literally all we need. Okay, there we go. Come on, SourceForge. Fire up those Chinese servers. I want my file. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna, I guess, what? Yeah, we don't want to extract it here. Hell no. Sure. Documents. Sure. All right, that's fine. It's a temporary solution. Okay, so the gist of it is we're gonna need to set up a page that performs the initial setup, the initial installation. We're also gonna need to do something like database setups is what I'm talking about. Okay, good. So we're gonna go documents, and then we have Uniform Server. Hey, there we go. I think this is the one, right? What date is today? It's neither of these. What the shit? Where did we just install it? What? What? Okay, hold on a second. Hello? Where's... Oh, it's still working on it. UniZ. So Uniserver Z. That's what we're looking at. Okay. Cool. There we go. There it is. So, if we were to launch this, once SQL root password. So again, this is just for development purpose. So I guess we'll just do there we go. Perfect. And then it wants to set up the database, root password. Beautiful. Okay, so we can start the web server. Yup. There we go. And then that opens up the splash screen here. And then we can also start the database engine. Cool. All right. Now, we do have access to phpMyAdmin, which allows us to edit the database. But if we want to make this seamless, we need to make it so that the database and the tables are essentially created through code. Right. Okay. Let's start with this. So you're going to have to create a username and password anyways. So we're going to add a user account. And let's call this, what are we going to call this? Task open Taskanator. Okay. Password is going to be, I don't know, just Taskanator will be okay. Sure. Okay. And I think that should be fine. We don't want to create a database yet. Grab privileges with wildcard names. I think that's fine. Let's generate. Oh, that son of a bitch. Taskanator. Okay. That's go. We need to... Passwords aren't the same. Oh, you sack of shit. Okay. There we go. That should do it. Get out of here. Yeah, this is all like locally hosted stuff, so it's okay if we know what the password is. Okay, so the username is open Taskanator, password is Taskanator. We don't want to do anything in here so far. Okay? Cool. Maybe we do want something. What do we have? Structure. So we wanted to allow it to create, alter. We don't want it to, sure, drop tables. Index? Allow creation and dropping indices. Sure. Okay. I think that's basically what we want, at least for now. Data. We want to select, insert, update, delete. Allows importing data from exporting data into files. Sure. Administration. Allows adding users. No. Okay, none of this stuff, I think. We don't want to be creating users. We don't need to set up query limits. I think that's good. So go. Beautiful. Okay, so that's it. This is really the only thing that I'm expecting anyone to have to do on their end if they're trying to self-host this. That should be fine. Okay, so now, we need to, let's see, we need to open, this opens up the web page. That's good. We don't want that though. We want to go to the www folder. And what do we got here? We got stuff. We don't need any of this stuff. We are going to keep the ht access just in case. I'm going to cut this out. Temp www. I'm just going to copy these files or move these files over here. We're not going to need them, but just in case, we have them here. And now if we reload localhost, we see this stuff. Okay. Cool. So let's start with Visual Studio Code. And wait for that to load. Okay, I'd like to close folder. All right, so we are going to, we're gonna have it navigate to this folder, I suppose, and we'll just initiate the Git repository here as well. Open folder. There we go. Beautiful. And now, if we create index.php, and then type in hello, we have our hello. Beautiful. Okay, first of all, we need to have a routine that creates tables, which means we're going to be using PHP for server side for backend. Okay, so we're gonna make a setup.php file, and the setup.php file is going to be essentially handling the initial creation of all tables and documents and all that good jazz. Okay, cool. Let me double check. Am I actually streaming to the right channel? I hope I am. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yo. Yes, I am. Okay, nice. Okay, so when we go to index.php, this is the base web page. Setup is for creating the actual table. So what we need to do is establish a connection to the database, to MySQL. So MySQLi STMT or MySQLi connect, I think. Let me double check this. Yeah, MySQLi connect. And then we're going to say localhost. So that means the database is stored locally, which is this guy right here. It's running on the same computer. Now, username, Taskanator. That's the one we just created. Actually, Taskanator something something is what it was called. Open Taskanator. That's the username. Okay, there we go. And then for password, Taskanator, and then there's no database here. At least not here. Okay. So all we have to do is do localhost setup.php. So that loaded up the page, which is this page, but there's nothing for us to display, and we don't know if the connection was successful or not. We could try to echo it. Okay, and that gives us error 500, which means I can't really echo this thing. So right now what we're going to do is enable PHP errors. We're going to make sure the PHP errors are being displayed directly on the page while we're working on this, because that makes it easier to debug. So I'm just going to copy paste these 3 lines. There we go. Okay, object of class MySQL could not be converted to string. Makes sense. So we can't just like print this. We could do if not connection. Then we're gonna do echo, or actually let's do exit. Could not connect to MySQL. Okay, so it's not displaying it, which means it tells me that it has connected to it. Let's try putting an extra letter in the username, and then that should give us an error. Yeah, there we go. Access denied. Beautiful. Okay, so this means that we have a valid connection. If we have a valid connection, what do we need to do? Well, technically, it doesn't make sense for us to do a connection here right away, because the user has to be able to enter the username and password of where they're trying to connect first. So what I'm gonna do here is this. I'm gonna set up a page. So let's do what do we got? We got div. We need a page where the user can input the username, password of the database so that they can access it. Okay. Now, to start, I'm going to comment out the PHP stuff. And I am going to set up styles. And this is setup.php .css. Okay, so that we can do some styling on this page. So link CSS setup styles / setup. Abu, oh good day. How are you doing? Styles. Excuse me. I'm just in the zone. Styles / setup the CSS. Cool. We are going to say body and background color dark. Sure. Except we're gonna go for really desaturated. I'm good. I missed you, man. I've seen, yes, the various messages. I'm here. I'm working, man. I'm working on stuff. Let's give it a class. This is gonna be page content. Okay, so this is gonna be here. Background color white. Okay, now there's nothing in here to actually style. So let's start by maybe giving it another div. Input. We need username, password, database name, and there we go. Okay, and then a button. So input of type button. It's going to be all this. Aha, nice. There we go. I'm going to make the page max width of 900 pixels. I'm going to make it margin auto. And then here, we're going to do padding 10 pixels and then border radius of 15 pixels. Nice. Okay. Let's do this. Div initial setup for Taskanator. Beautiful. We're going to set up top text. We're going to do text align center and then padding of 20 pixels. Color white. There we go. And then font size 40 pixels. Beautiful. Okay, now this is going to be the create DB stage. We're going to make it display as block. I think that's sufficient enough. It would be if I saved it. Create DB stage. Yes. Do I have to hard reload? Well, come on now. Yeah, it's right here. Create DB stage. Did I screw it up? Oh. Grid. Excuse me. There we go. That's what we need. What else? What else do we need here? Max width. Should we divide it maybe into left and right stage? Left is going to be the description of what's going to happen, and the right one is going to be the actual task. Let's do this. Class. Stage description. And then this is going to be div. We are going to move this div down here. Okay. Two half. That's what we're gonna call it. Two half. Two half is gonna have display of grid, grid, template columns, 50% auto. Nice. Okay. Cool. So, what do we do here? Provide username and password for your database. Beautiful. All right, we're going to do some placeholders here. Database to create. Okay. So, let's go over here. We're going to do row gap, 10 pixels. It's a bit much. 5 pixels. And we're also going to do any input within this class. We're going to do border radius, 5 pixels, padding, 5 pixels. All right. Cool. So, provide username, password, database to create. And actually, maybe no database to create. All right. It's going to be predefined. Maybe. What if you want to have multiple? We should probably keep it. The world of software development is plagued by what ifs. The what ifs are going to keep you awake at night. So, cool. Let's actually process this stuff. So, right. So this stuff here, we need to make this be exported to a separate script. We could keep it on the same page and send the request to the same page, but I don't feel like doing that. Let's do server. And then this is going to be setup scripts.php. And what we're going to do here is move this. There we go. Cool. All right. I think that should be good. So, when we press this button, we need to send a request to that page and have it create all the tables and databases. Okay. On click, we're gonna run some JavaScript code. Let's do run setup. Okay. Which means we need in here JavaScript. We're gonna create setup.js. Give it a function, run setup, and we're gonna leave it maybe with an alert. Haha. Perfect. All right, so all we have to do now is link the scripts, and then setup.js. Okay, so it's complaining. Run setup is not defined. Is it JavaScript? Excuse me. Actually, hold on. Scripts makes more sense. Now, I'm not incorrect. Hey, look at that. So, that's good. Okay, so to make things easier, we are going to get jQuery. jQuery? Yes. Okay, and then we're gonna pop this over into scripts. Cool. Cool. So we are gonna... Whoa, okay, can we not be selecting stuff? Let's include scripts. Copy relative. Bop, 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 bop. There we go. Okay, and that should be good. It's not complaining about something missing, so cool. So we should be able to run a request. So we're gonna do $, dot post. We're gonna send the request to server, to the setup scripts PHP file. Nice. And then the next thing, we're gonna send some data with it, and then we're gonna have a function to execute data and status. Cool. All right, now what are we sending into it? Well, we need to get this information. Username, password, database to create. We could serialize this whole thing, turn it into a form, but maybe? Maybe? Maybe. Maybe not. Let's do this. ID form. Setup form. Okay, so we're gonna get the setup form, document, get element by ID here. And then we need to send some data. So first of all, the task is to initial setup. Next, username is going to be setup form children 0. We're going to get the value of that child. So setup form children 0, get the value from this input, which is the username. So that's going to give us whatever we type in here. All right. Cool. And then we just got to do password, setup form, children 1 value, and then db name. db name is going to be same concept, children 2 value. And that's it. So that's what we're sending. And then we're going to use a console log to see what the heck do we receive. Cool. $404 not found, favicon, that's fine. Okay. Well, we're receiving something. There's nothing technically inside of it, but it is there. It's definitely running. Cool. So, setup scripts. Here, we actually need to receive the data. So if is set post data task. So if we receive a packet of data that has task in it, then the task is going to be extracted. And then we're going to run a switch command on the task to see what kind of task it is. So initial setup is the task we're going to work with for the time being. We know that if we're doing initial setup type task, we need to receive username, password, and then db name. Cool. Copy, paste, paste, paste. Password, db name. Yes. Beautiful. Now, we're going to echo this right now to double check to make sure this actually works. Oh, post server error. Didn't like it. What's not to like? What'd you complain about? Oh, right. We can't use commas in PHP for printing multiple things. Just gonna have to do this. Hey, there we go. Username, password, database name. Cool. All right. So now, since we have this, we should attempt to do that. Connect, essentially. Okay. So the username is going to be this one. Password is going to be this one. And that should tell us if connection was successful. Okay, access denied for user, right, which makes sense. There's no such user. There is such user called open Taskanator, and then password is Taskanator, and then, yay, look at that, success. Right, so password, of course, should be obscured. That would be the correct thing to do, so we're going to do type password. So we'll do that. It's obscured. Cool. So, okay. So, we now have access to the database. What we need to do is perform the initial setup. Okay? We need to perform the initial setup. Now, what do we need to do? Create database. Right, we need to create database. When the connection is failed, we're actually going to exit. Could not connect to MySQL. That's what we're going to respond with. As a matter of fact, I usually like to have a bit more context. Responding with an object containing the type of message, the message code, message raw text, maybe some other stuff might be useful. Okay. Let's start with baby steps for now. Let's just have it create everything that we need. Let's see. So we need to create a database first. So we're going to do... What do we do? I think prepared statements what might make sense here. So if stmt mysqli prepare, we're going to use the connection we've just established, and then we're going to do create database, and then we're going to put a question mark because we don't want to insert user text directly, even though technically it's a locally stored, locally handled tool meant for your local use, or I guess if you have like a local web server for your team, you can use that way, but we might as well, you know, use proper practices, or as close to as we can manage here, which is, you know, if you have a SQL request, do not put user variables with user data in it, because the user data could contain SQL injection commands. Okay. Let's do, what do we need to do? We need to bind a piece of data to that database. So we're going to, to that question mark. So we're going to do MySQLi, stmt, bind param, statement. The parameter is a string, and then the data is database name. Okay. That's good. Next, MySQLi, stmt execute, and MySQLi stmt close. So closes the statement. Hypothetically speaking, oh, this one, we should see a new database appear right here, hopefully, if our permissions were set up correctly. Let's see. Reload. Cool. So, open Taskanator. 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 Okay. You have error in your SQL syntax. Check the manual. Okay. Question mark at line 1. Create database, and then this is the name of the database. Can you use prepared statements to create a database? Okay. Create database prepared statement. A prepared statement can only be used to bind values in where condition or in values clauses, not object names, before you can use it to bind the name of the database. You could use string manipulation to add database name, but in this case, there's really no benefit to using prepared statements. You should just be using a statement instead. Okay, fair enough. Okay, let's take a look at that. MySQL statement. We're not allowed to create databases and prepare syntax. Okay, so I guess we're not doing this then. Interesting. Okay, all right. So let's do this. MySQLi execute connection, and then create database, and then we just insert the database name. That seems all right. Fair enough. SQL, and then the result's going to be provided, and then we can, I guess that's it. Let's try this. Okay, MySQLi execute. Argument 1 must be of type what's a connection? Okay, let's double check this. Oh, we don't want to execute. That's statement execute. Excuse me. Okay. That's what I get for spending so much time in PHP MyAdmin. Okay, so we do query. MySQLi query. Hey, there we go. So, I mean, we expect to see this and not a giant error, which means, look at that, Taskanator. New database has been created. Now, besides creating the database, we also need to create some tables. So, I don't know if we can create tables with prepared statements either, but I guess we'll have to work with this. Create tables. Cool. Let's see about creating tables. So what do we do? Create table in in this database name, what is the table? Actually, no, hold on a second. When we do this, when we create the database, we need to now connect to the database because we know that it should exist now. Okay, so we can do MySQLi close connection, and then we're going to establish a new connection, this time with the database already provided, which means it's going to be here. Now connect to the database. Okay, and now since we're going to be connecting to this database instead of just connecting to the SQL server, we're going to be connected directly to the database. We can execute these commands right here. Cool. All right, so the database name in this case can be hand provided. So what do we need to do? We need to do user base. That's the first database name. Inside of here, we're going to need to have a series of columns. So first we have ID, which is going to be an integer. It's going to contain data of type integer. I guess 255 would be more than enough for ever and ever. It's going to be unsigned auto increment. It's going to be primary key, and that's it. Primary key. Auto increment. Okay, so this means that the first column in this table is ID, and it's always going to be auto incrementing. So anytime there's a new user, it is going to be adding it up. Okay. It's going to have a different ID every time. Okay, next, what else do we need? What do we need? What do we need from the drunken sailor? We need to create another table. Oh, no, not until we deal with this. What does user base needs beside ID? Username, which is var char. I guess the length of a username can be 128 characters. That's fine. But it's not really username. Let's do email. Okay, email. Since this is, it's not a public service platform like Trello that has millions and millions and millions of users, this is for your own personal management. So, in this case, we're going to use email, which is going to be varchar. Cool. Do we need collation? Varchar and the not null. Okay, let's keep going. So besides email, we need first name, last name. Let's do 6. Okay. And what else? We can do registration date, excuse me. It's going to be data of timestamp. Default. The default value is current timestamp. And one update. Actually, no, that's it. So it's just going to make a record of the current timestamp. Cool. Cool. So, save this. Get back to the tool. Now, I'm going to quickly get rid of this Taskanator. Let's see. Operations. Let's do delete, drop the database. Nice. Okay, and now we go here. Perform initial setup. You have an error in your SQL code, checks the manual. Reg date timestamp default current timestamp. Got it. timestamp. Oh, no, it's just, what the heck? It just cut it off. Okay. Timestamp, yes. Default, yes. Current timestamp. Do we need this? On update current timestamp. I don't think we do. Okay, now, even though it gave us an error there, it will create the table. So, one more time. Drop the table. Let's see. Oh, I think it just gave us the same error twice. Yes. Okay. Timestamp default at line 5. You have an error in your SQL query, check the corresponds. Okay, I think we might be able to get result error. Let's see. Echo MySQLi error. Oh, error 500. It don't like MySQLi error. Yeah. Oh. Right. All right. Come on. Give me some useful information. There is nothing. Oh, hold on. We got a comma. Missing comma there. Okay. It's always something stupid. Load Taskanator. Cool. Can't create database. Taskanator database exists. You lying sack of shit. It should not exist. Hey, it's got user base. Nice. Well, that's good. Right, so this is a very common thing when there's no immediate response or feedback. The user uh, instinct is to just click the button again like a bajillion times. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over here, and when we click Run Setup, we're going to provide the reference to this element here, and then btn, and then the first thing we'll do is disable the fuck out of that button. And then only when we receive the response, we will unlock it. Okay, but hey, it did create user base. It does have ID, email, first name, last name, registration date, which means if I were to, let's say, do something like this, the last name, and then go, and then browse, we now have the user, and the date has been populated automatically. That's all fine and dandy. Let's go ahead and drop the table. Cool. All right. So, cool beans. Next, what else do we need? So we have the user base table. That's cool. We don't need this. What beside the user base do we need? We need ownership. Or actually, okay, we're going to basically replicate more or less how Trello works. So we're going to have boards, which is projects. Inside of boards, we have columns. Inside of columns, we have notes. And then notes can have stuff inside of them. So we need a table called boards. It will have ID, board name. We don't need these two pieces of data. And the funny thing is, yeah, that's basically all that we need. Next, excuse me. Create board. Create ownership table. Okay, so the ownership is going to be like a reference table, which is going to pair up users and boards and their roles within the board. So, ownership. Okay, ID is fine. So, board ID is going to be the first thing that we need to reference. Then, I don't think we need... I guess we'll just keep that here. That's fine. Board ID is the first thing that we need. Then, user ID is the next thing we need. Next, we need to type the type of ownership. Okay, that's going to be a string. Okay, and then default is going to be owner. Okay. Hopefully that should be okay. Maybe just for good measure. Cool. So that's it. Ownership. That's good. So what's next? Next we need create. What do we have inside of boards? Inside of boards we have tables, or columns. Create columns table. All right. Columns will have an ID. The first thing that we'll do is columns belong to a particular board. So we're going to do board ID int. Perfect. What is Chef cooking up? Working on an offline Trello alternative so that I can have all the benefits of Trello, but not having to pay $120 a year to, well, be able to, add users to tasks. Woo. And have more than 10 boards available to me. That's the dangers of being a programmer. It's just easier to program your own solution than to pay someone. That I know it's certain case scenarios, whatever. I'm young-ish. I have the motivation to do it. Yeah. And I'm gonna see about maybe if I can make this open source. So if anybody else is looking for a Trello alternative that they can self-host and run locally, they'll just be able to do it. Whatever, man. It's my contribution to the world of programming game dev. Okay, board ID. Integer, 128. Right. What do we need? So columns. Is that the right way to spell columns? Nope, it is not. Columns. There we go. So after board ID, so each column belongs to a particular board. We're gonna do what? Name. Okay, so title. Bar char 255. What else? Well, actually, that's basically it. Order. That's right. We need order, which is an integer. 256. That should be good. I think that's it. I think that's it. So that's columns. Okay. Inside of columns, we can have notes. Okay, notes. So a note belong to column ID. Okay, it has a title. Okay, we're gonna have to be careful when we do SQL selections because both column and note have a title table, so we'll have to mention which one's which. Order. Yes, notes can be reorganized, so we need to give them order, and then notes have also text. Okay, text. Text, I think is just text content. Note text. Okay. Cool. Well, that's basically it. Now, inside of notes, we would technically also have other stuff like to-do lists for the most part. Actually, no. We're basically just copying stuff we found in Trello. So, description, long text description. So this is going to be description varchar. Oh, that's descending. Description varchar. Okay, now this wouldn't be varchar, would it? This would be like long text, right? Long string. We might be able to do varchar. So this is like what? I think 24,000 characters is more than enough for description. Yeah, let's do 2,000. That's fine. 2048. Let's be cheeky about it. There we go. Okay. That's good. So that's notes. Cool. What else can we do with notes? We can, each note can have a color code, right? We can assign color code to it. So note color. What are we going to store the note color as, though? Hexadecimal value? String? Probably, yeah, probably just a string. 255. Okay, what else? Labels. Labels. Should we store labels separately, or should we store labels as an array within the note? Labels in Trello are little color cards. Little tiny colored tabs. And you can assign it. Okay, you know what? For now, I think that's fine. That's fine. Reload this. Okay. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look at whether or not we're going to be lucky enough for this to work right away. There we go. Okay, MySQL exception. You have an error in your SQL code. Check. Syntax int timestamp. Default current timestamp on line 5. Interesting. Order. Okay, we can't use order. Right, because order is a built-in SQL command. Okay, so this is column order, and this is note order. Okay, because we need to store the order in which they appear. So, yeah. Of course, this will actually create this. Looks like it is creating stuff. Collation might have to be adjusted. Let's see. I think Unicode C UTF-8 should be okay. So this is going to be create database MySQL Unicode character set. Okay, so this will be when we do this, create database. Okay. Char set what is it? UTF-8. I think that should be it. And then MB4, because they have an updated name for UTF-8. Okay, so we do create database name, character set, char. Oh, it's actually just character set. Oh, character space set. Interesting. Okay, UTF-8, and then collation or collate UTF-8 MB4 underscore Unicode CI. That's what we want. I think that's it. So this will ensure that every single varchar based column that we create from this point on is going to be created with UTF-8 Unicode collation. Alrighty. Let's see. Okay, display width out of range for column order, max 255. Column order. Oh. 255. Got it. I don't have 256 anywhere else, do I? I do. Oh, that's character. Got it. That's the length of the string in characters. Okay, one more time. Taskanator. Okay, so we're gonna do operations. Drop the database. And we'll go here. And hey, okay. We need to make sure that it doesn't print this. Cool. Reload. There's Taskanator. Boards, columns, notes, ownership, and user base. Cool. User base, just gonna double check this. Structure. Auto increment. Primary key. Beautiful. Okay, primary key columns ensure that there's never two columns with the same ID. Well, that's auto increment, and primary key just makes it be the identifying column for each row of data. Okay, well, technically that's it. The rest of it is like safety measures. So, for example, we have create database. We need to check if that was successfully created. So let's see. Okay, so I want to create a database. I guess it either processes it or it fails. So we should be able to do if not result exit database could not be created. And then that would just exit. So if we do this, okay. Can't create a database, database exists. So it errors out. Database could not be created. It didn't even print that, actually. It just outright crashed. MySQLite query. I guess we should maybe check if the database exists first. Let's see. How do we do this? Okay, so we can do show databases like, and then the name of the database. Okay. Show database like databases. Okay. And then what do we use with the actual data? Let's see. Well, I know it's show databases, but come on. I think it's going to give me a row. So if I'm going to do this, while row equals MySQLi query. No, not query. MySQLi fetch associated array, and then we can do echo this. Okay. Let's double check that. MySQLi exception. You have an error in your SQL. Check the corresponding line. Taskanator at line 1. Right syntax, use Taskanator. Oh. Let's see. And I don't need bash scripts. I need good old PHP MySQLi. Okay, so there is a way to do it. We have to address the schema of the database, or schema of the MySQL engine. Okay. All right, let's try this. So this would be select schema name from yeah, nice. Where this. Okay. Oh, unknown column, Taskanator, where clause. Select schema name, information, schema underscore schema ta dot schema ta, yes, where schema name equals name of the database. That makes sense. Oh, okay. Can't create a database. It did try something right here. Array to string conversion. Okay. All right. So, and there were actually multiple errors here. Let's see. Array to string conversion, line 25. Line 25 is right here, but that's perfect. That means it attempted to print this data. So let's try it. So let's do JSON encode, put the row in here, print the row, and then let's just exit out of here for the time being. Okay, schema name, Taskanator. Okay, cool. So it has given me one row of data because that contains the table. So here's what we can do. We can say, we don't really care about this. We don't really care about looping through the data. We're going to say if MySQLi num rows, if the result contains more than 0 rows of data, it means that there is a database already present with this name, and that's exactly what we're going to tell it. Database with this name is already present. Okay. Cool. Got a post error. Let's try that again. Okay, database with this name is already present. Let's stop printing username, password, and whatnot. That's good. Okay, database with this name is already present. Cool. Which means if I do Taskanator 1, it should do everything. Okay, there's no response for it. But if we reload it, now we got Taskanator 1. Cool. And then if we do this, Taskanator 2, it's going to process it again. Now we've got Taskanator 2 with all the tables already in place. Cool. There we go. All right. So what do we need next? Next, we need to create... Well, next I'm going to end this video, and we're going to start the new one. Okay. And we're back. Perfect. Okay, so what do we need next? Well, next, we're kind of going from the very, very, very beginning of it, and it's the fact that we need to be able to register a user, which is going to be the master user, the owner of the tool. So we also need to record the username and password and the database name for this tool. So for now, we're going to do so into a file, into a little JSON file. Okay, let's see. We need a text file, basically. PHP save to text file. It's not, a great way to do it. You're basically storing your database username and password into a text file. Technically, technically, as long as you store it outside of the www folder, it should be okay, from what I've been told. You can also store it into the web environment variables for the web service, for the web server you're using. For now, we're going to start with just having it stored somewhere. So, after we're done with all of this, username, password, database name. These are the three things we are interested in. So, we're gonna do this. Var credentials. We're gonna make an array. Yeah, sure. And then we're gonna do credentials. It's gonna be an associative array, so db username is going to be username. Okay. And by the way, this is PHP. There's no var. Okay. db username, db password, db name. Okay. This is going to be a temporary solution for the time being until we figure out the better way to do this. So now we need to open up a file. So we do file.fopen credentials.json, and we're going to open it with an intention of writing stuff to it. And then we need to write a piece of data into it. So we're going to do write file, and then we're going to convert to a JSON string the credentials variable, which contains all three pieces of data. And then we need to do close file. There we go. Okay, I think that should do it. Now, database name already present. Yeah. Let me actually clean up house over here. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. All right. So, if I do this, it should give us nothing, no response, but that means there were no errors, which means credentials.json has been created. There's our stuff. You know, you'll be fine for the time being. Okay? Yes, you're not supposed to store the password and the username to the database into a file and store it on the same folder as your web files. We'll deal with that later. Okay, right now we just needed to have a way of quickly creating all the database tables and setting up the credentials. Okay, so this should be it, basically. We've stored it. So technically, now we have the base setup. It's pretty much done. Um, we do need to have the user provide some sort of a username, password, first name, last name, all that stuff. Um, we'll probably do it as a separate operation. Yeah. Okay, div. This is gonna be this one. Stage description, and then div, which is the actual form. Okay, so I'm gonna copy the class here because it pretty much applies here. Same rules in here as well. Input, cool. Placeholder. Oh yeah, by the way, this is user password. So this has to be placeholder of email. So this is root user or master user email. I'm gonna piss off the libs with this one. Input. This is gonna have a placeholder of master user password. Sure. And then I suppose we also need to supply first name, last name. Because that's what we need for the database. Okay. Give it a button. Register master user. Beautiful. Run setup. Okay, so register master user shall be the function that we will run. And cool. All right. What do we need to do here? You know, all of this data has to be collected, and we have to send it off. So I think we should be able to just serialize the data and add an additional piece here. So for that, I think we can make this into a form. As long as the button isn't a submit button, we should be okay. So ID, let's call this master user data. Okay, here we're gonna use jQuery to get the element with ID of master user data, and then we're going to serialize the data, which is something that we can do because jQuery is awesome. Var, I'm going to console loof, apparently, the data. That's good. Okay, if we reload this, when I have this piece, okay. Now, they're not connected in any way right now, so I'm just going to do this. There's no response, but it should have also given me the serialized information. So that's curious. Oh, master user data. Master user. Okay, register master user. Accepts a piece of data. Button. It had no way of accepting it. So how the hell did it run? This. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've got nothing. Register master user. Oh, okay. Eh? Serialize. Is that correctly spelled? Yep. Seems like it's correctly spelled. Data. Oh, it has no name. If I'm serializing a piece of data, it has to be serialized with a particular name. If there's no name, can't serialize it. Master password. Okay. Master first name. Master last name. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, there we go. So the data's here. Cool. Now, is that just piece of plain text, or is that actually, you know, a data structure? Okay. Establish database. H2. Register master user. There we go. Establish database. Register master user. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Except that looks an awfully lot like a plain piece of text. Can I do type of? Type of. String. Interesting. It already contains a piece of all of the serialized data as a string. Can we keep it as a JSON data so I can add stuff to it? Huh. Creates a text string in the standard URL encoded notation. It can act as a jQuery object. Select individual forms control. Okay. That's not nice. I mean, it's pretty cool, but I need to add stuff to it. Let's see. I need to add to the serialized data. So we can, by the looks of it, we can do data.push And if I need to push something additional to it, we could do it like this. The name of the key is one thing, and then the value is another thing. Okay, so yeah, this data is what we're going to be sending with the request, just like we did here. We need to send username of the database, password of the database user, and the database name itself. This time around, we've serialized the data. We didn't individually grab it like this, we serialized it. So, when we send the request, set up scripts.php. We're going to send just the data variable. And then this is the response function, data status. And there we go. So this additional piece of data that we need to include is the task. Register master user. Okay, now that's fine and dandy. Maybe fine, but not quite dandy. Maybe sometimes dandy, but not quite fine. Let's console log the data that we get in the response. Right. What do we want here? Well, we want another case. We need to make sure there's a break at the end of each case so that it doesn't continue through the rest of the cases. What is this type? It's a register master user. Okay. Now this is where we can start using prepared statements. So new user post. Okay. So we know that if the task type is register master user, it must contain a username. Now that's not guaranteed, and you want to have safety measures to prevent accidental, well, making a record for a user with no password, for example, or no username. Let's see. Master username. So the next piece of data we sent is master password. New master user. This is F name, L name. Master user. Master F name, master L name. Cool. So we got all the data extracted from the request. We need to actually make, well, what do we got to make here? We got to make a connection. Now, the connection data is stored in the file right here. So we're going to have to read that file and then F read, I believe, right? Is what we need to do. And this is going to read the contents of the file as a string. So we got to do JSON decode. Okay, and then db data is going to be the variable that contains the extracted information. It will contain the following key value pairs with which we can establish a connection to the database. So let's do this here. And this is only really necessary for the setup. Once we get to the actual core tool, there we can just make connections as we please. So I'm going to do db data. Cool. We want to access username, password, database name. Okay. And that should technically establish a connection. And if it doesn't connect, it should tell us could not connect to MySQL. So that's basically it. Get back here. String. I need to reload because we wrote a bunch of JavaScript. Data push is not a function. The hell it's not. Okay, so we need to, instead of doing serialize, we need to do serialize array. Which means that should give us an array that we can push the data into. Oh, expects exactly 2 arguments, 1 given. Stack trace, setup scripts 111. fread needs 2 arguments. Really? fread needs 2 arguments. Length. It wants fread. Okay, let's look this up. PHP fread. I need the whole thing. There's not a lot of data there, so we just need to read the whole thing. So we can request the size of the file. Interesting. Okay. And the file is, of course, this file. Credentials.json. Okay, so when we read a file, we need to tell how many bytes of data do we want to read from it. So if there's like, I don't know, a file that's the size of several gigabytes for whatever reason, like malicious intent, for example, we can specifically tell it to only read like a first few little bits. Okay, that's cool. So these are safety measures. Clear this. 500. Okay. File size. fread. Oh, we are missing parentheses. Cannot use object of type std class as array in 114. Gotcha. So we need to extract this information. Okay, db name or db username. db password. And then db name. There we go. Okay. Can't use object of type std class as an array. 114. Oh, okay. So interesting. It's a standard class. So the way we access data is by using this. Or, hold on, JSON decode could be told to open a file and return the data in a particular format. Let's see. Object as array. I think that's what we want to do. So we do this. I think that's it. Okay. Oh, actually, hold on a second. There's a bunch of properties we can do. So JSON decode. First, we provide the JSON data. Then we can tell it to be an associative array. Optional depth and flags. I think that's actually all we need. Okay, error 500. That's something. It's progress. But what does the error 500 actually want from us? There's this thing, but it didn't trip. It's just telling us error 500, which honestly means it could be just something stupid, like stupid simple. Oh, right. Of course it's something stupid simple. It's literally this. Okay. It didn't complain about it, and it didn't say could not connect to MySQL. I think it worked. All right, let me do this. We are going to block the button. So btn disabled true. And then I think we're just going to make it perma disabled here for now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's it. It was just permanently disabled. Of course, the second text box should be of type password. Line 21 looks like it has a SQL ejection attack 21, 21, 21. Right. Okay, so we do a select here, which I couldn't do prepared statements to create the database, but since we're doing a select here, we're just selecting from a table. That means we can do we can do prepared statements here. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I should just do that right away. Thank you very much. Let's do boop boop boop. Oh, that was from a while ago too. Thank you. Okay, so we'll do, what do we do here? Let's do if stmt my SQLi stm prepare connection. There we go. Select schema name, blah blah blah. Okay, MySQLi stmt bind parameter to the statement. Curse my sausage fingers. This is going to be a string, and then the data. Well, the data is the database name. Okay, MySQLi stmt execute the statement, and then, well, then we can check for number of affected rows. MySQLi statement num rows. I think we don't need to store. No, we do need to store result to see the number. MySQLi stmt store result stmt. Okay. Bind parameter string execute store result. Check the result. If it has more than 0, exit. Cool. All right. Well, that's a fairly quick adjustment. Let's see if that works though. So you bye-bye. There we go. And then you load. Okay, username open Taskanator. Password Taskanator. Database Taskanator. Perform initial setup. Oh, okay. Access denied. User open Taskanator at localhost. I think I misspelled it. What was the name? Users. Open Taskanator. Taskanator. It's literally the same. So password. Password is incorrect then. Let me just double check this. Yes, okay. Which makes sense. I got No access to the database. Okay. So, I mean, we don't have a response, but it would be a good idea to have a, proper message. Taskanator. Beautiful. Boards, columns, notes, ownership, user base. Perfect. Yeah. Hey, and the collation works okay. All right. So, I think based on the response, we should maybe prevent this button from being clickable again, and we're gonna make this whole thing essentially be unblocked. What the shit? Undefined variable DB username. What just happened? Setup.js 18. Oh. That was from the server. Huh? Oh, you know what? It could be that our JSON file had 2 pieces of data in it now. Open Taskanator, Taskanator, Taskanator. Hold on a sec. If I do this, perform initial setup, is the JSON file going to have 2 things in it or just 1? Yep, it just overwrites it. Okay, that's good. All right, fair enough. Just going to delete this one. Cool. So, only when this is successful, we should request for username, password, blah, 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 etc., etc. Okay, so for that, we need to disable everything. We need to disable all these fields. So we can also hide the whole panel, but I'll just keep it disabled. That's fine. All right, there we go. So that's disabled. And then when we receive a success, that's when we need to enable all this stuff, which means we actually have to get this request to give us a thumbs up. Now, how do we know if we created the table successfully? Let's see. Var success count 0. Excuse me, PHP. Plus equals 1. So we'll just add +1 every time we have a successful command. Result. I guess if it failed, it can either fail or it can pass. So we can do if, yeah, if result is true, we'll just add +1. I'm pretty sure we should be able to do this. Check if it's not false. Okay, maybe this will be okay. We'll see. If not, it'll tell me. Okay. So, when this is done, we'll record the file, and then if success count is, how many times do we have this? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think there's 5 steps to this whole thing. 6. Actually, what is this? We don't need this. That's just this establishing a connection. So creating a table. Creating a database would be the first thing. Where's that? Where did I put that? Right here. So success count should come first when we establish connection, and then if creating the database is successful, then we add +1. So 1, 2, I guess I could just count this. 6. We have a total of 6 of these. Okay, so if that's successful, what do we do? Well, we need to be able to respond with something. So I'm going to create JSON response, and then this is going to be new std Do I want std class or do I want associated array? Yeah, it's fine. std class is fine. Okay, new std class. And then when we go over here, what are we gonna put into this? So JSON message text. So initial creation successful. Okay, message code. This is just in case if I ever decide to do localization. The code is always in English, but message text can change based on language selection. Initialized. Okay. And then this is a JSON or a message type, which is good. There we go. And then else, if we do not do everything that needed to be done, initial steps failed. Failed to initialize. And this is bad. Okay. And then we do exit, JSON encode, JSON response. And yeah, we do have a break, but we exit, so I don't think that should matter. Cool. So that means on this side, we should receive the actual response. Actually, we won't if there's already a table existing, because right here we do exit. Okay. So here's what we can do. We can say the JSON response is going to receive a new key value pair, which is, we have to do it this way. DB creation. No, this is going to be an array. So we're just going to do messages. And we're going to add to the array of messages. If it doesn't exist yet, it's not going to allow us to add stuff to it. So we're just going to do this. When it's the initial setup, we're going to say that it contains an array, just an empty array, messages. And then here we can add to the message, database failed to create. Okay, and now we can just go through all of these and then add a message to the array of the reasons why it failed. So this can be user base table. Failed to create. Boards table. Failed to create. Okay. Ownership table. Failed to create. Columns table failed to create. And then finally, notes table failed to create. Okay, and then everything is just going to be bundled with the rest of the data. And that's good. I think that's good. We'll see. So, down you go. Drop this thing. Beautiful. And reload this. Error 500. It don't like something. It don't tell us what it don't like. but don't like something. Okay. I think we should have a way of, yeah, seeing the error log. What does the error say? Ooh, okay. Plugin. I don't know if this is relevant, though. Oh, okay. I don't think we can save this. Oh, 601. That is 23. That's not the right time. Okay. I was checking. Hold on. I think I was checking my SQL errors. Apache logs. Error log. That's what I want. Okay. What does it want? PHP parse error, syntax error, unexpected bracket in line 39. Oh. Oh, I really goofed up. Hold on a second. Dang it. Oh, this is going to be a pain in the ass to replace. Do that. And then... No, it's not. What? What the hell? It is supposed to be curly brackets. What are you talking? Okay, so it's... I'm missing a bracket. Okay. I'm missing a bracket. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What's happening here? Okay, so 39. Let me just try this again real quick. Oh, interesting. Okay. Hey, okay, it didn't create anything, so that's good. Although this thing is locked. Okay, so we got an error 500. Let's go take a look at error log. Unclosed open bracket does not match closing in 39. Okay, well that's what it was before. Oh, semicolons, right. It's on the same line, but it doesn't mean that we can skip doing semicolons. Okay. All right. I thought it was past that particular mistake, but you know, apparently not. Okay. So it gives us no messages. Message text initial creation successful. And then if we try it again, it would fail, right? Database with this name already present. It's not supposed to exit. So we're just going to do this here. Database already present. There we go. Fatal error. Can't create a database. Taskanator database exists. Right. This needs to run. Else. There we go. Needs to run right here as an exception. which, by the way, if it does run, it will add +1. Okay, so I think that should be good. Table already exists. Interesting. So when we try to run this command, it just outright breaks. Might have to do like a try catch type thing. Catch an exception. Okay. So we're going to do try. And this is what we're going to try to do. And then catch exception as the variable e. And then that means if this works, it will add +1. If it fails, we'll add the message. Okay, so right now it's complaining about the user base existing. If I do this, boards. Which is the next one. Okay, so we have a system that we can work with here. We're going to try to perform this operation. And then if it fails, we're going to make a record of it. We need to remember to add +1 to the success count. Okay. Cool. Well, that works. Oh, we got error 500. Oh no. What do we miss? Let me see if I can catch it. All right, let's see. Unexpected token catch. Line 78. Okay. So we got messages, database with this name already present. Table failed to create user base, boards, ownership, columns, notes, and that's it. We don't have any other ones. Initial steps failed. Cool. Okay. I'd say that's pretty good. Now, none of this information actually shows up here. That's not a big deal. So we'll address that later on. So initial creation successful. This is what we are looking for. So when we receive this piece of data, okay, we're gonna do data json.parse data. Put into JSON response. Then if JSON response message text, no, message code. We want to be basing it on the code, which is initialized. So if this contains initialized, then we can go through all of this and enable it. So master user data. Okay, so we're gonna do for each input of document get element by ID with master user data. We're gonna get children. We're gonna tell each child dot disabled false. Cool. Which means I need to reload and I need to get rid of this. Taskanator. Taskanator. Okay. Click here. Oh, initialized is not defined. Setup JS 10. It's a string. It did do it successfully though. So that's a bit of a whoops. Ah, god damn it. I forgot to reload the web page. Because it's running all JavaScript. Okay. Fine. Drop table. Cool. Open Taskanator. Taskanator. Okay. Initial creation success. So this gives us this data. Okay. So, right. Interesting how LastPass has recognized that this field is a username field, but I didn't mark it as a username field in HTML. Fascinating. I guess it just detected the word email in the text field, so it's like, oh, this must be the user input. Let's just put it in here. Which means maybe we'll also mark this one as username. Yeah, nice. So you can see LastPass is now detecting this as a password entry. Okay, well, why not this one then? Come on. I guess maybe it's because it's blocked. Okay. Let me just pop into the setup page real quick. So this description is going to be, this is where you register the master account under which you will be creating your tasks, boards, project boards, notes, and managing other users who have access to your boards. Alrighty. This is where you register the master account under which you will be creating your project boards, notes, and managing other users who have access to your boards. Provide the username and password for your database. Not database. For your database engine. Also provide the name of the database which will be created to store Taskanator boards, users, notes, and other data. All right, that works. Cool. Seems like if I were to do open Taskanator, and then Taskanator, if it already contains a piece of data, so this is bad, initial steps failed. If it contains the database, maybe it should unlock these fields so we can attempt to create a user. Sure. We need to include something in here, however. We have a code. That's what we can base on. The code is failed to initialize. Message type. I guess there's no point in trying to do so if there is a user base table failed to create, because, you know, can't really do anything on that front. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we're just gonna go Taskanator, operations, drop table. So this creates successfully. Maybe it should block all of this stuff after it's successful. And then here we create the base username. Master user email. Okay, why don't we just finish this to make sure that it does make a record. And we should be good. Master user email. Master user password. First name, last name. Okay. So we've serialized the data, serialized it into an array. We have the task. We are sending that task here. We are receiving it. We establish the connection to the database with previously provided credentials. So now make a record of the user into the user base database. Okay, so this is where we have to lean in more into prepared statements. MySQLi prepare. Insert into user base. What are we inserting? So we're inserting email, password, and we're inserting fname. Is that the name of the column? Fname, lname. Okay, the values we're inserting are 4 fat placeholders for future data. Okay. There we go. Next, we need to hash the password. We need to hash the password so we don't store the password in its raw form. That would not be nice. So password hash string. So we need to accept the password first, which is right here. Hashed password. And then what should be the algorithm? Password hash. What should we use? Password default uses the bycrypt algorithm. Default as of PHP 5.5.0. This constant is designed to change over time as a new, stronger algorithm are added to PHP. For this reason, the length of the result using this identifier can change over time. Therefore, it's recommended to store this result in the database with a column that can expand beyond 60 characters. 255 characters would be a good choice. I think that's exactly what we did, didn't we? We did not. There isn't even a password field here in the first place. Whoa. Okay. Password. I think that would be allowed. And then 255. Sure. Okay. That should be fine. Maybe we'll store that at the end. Right here. Okay, that's fine. So, I guess in that case, password. Password create new is used to create new passwords hashes using the crypt blowfish algorithm. I think for now password default should be okay. Cool. All right. So that gives us the password. Next, MySQLite SteamT bind parameters. We're going to bind, what are we binding? So first it's email, which is a string. Password, which is a string. First name, string. Last name, string. Okay. Well, that was easy. All right. Email. We call it username, but it's not really a username. Master user email. Let's call it that. Master user email. Next, hashed password. Next, first name. Next is last name. Okay. Now we're inserting. So I think we can do affected rows. MySQLite SteamT affected rows. Affected rows works with insert, change, delete, insert. Okay, yeah. Insert, update, or delete. Okay, that's good. So, do we need to store? No, we don't. Okay, so STMT execute. And after STMT execute, affected rows. And then we do if the affected rows is more than 0, then, well, we have a object that we can put stuff into. Response object. So MSG, what were the key value pairs? MSG text, master user recorded, MSG code, user registered, and then MSG type. Good. There we go. Otherwise, master user recorded. Failed to record master user. User registration failed. JSON response. So we're going to exit. Excuse me. Exit. There we go. Exit and JSON encode the response. Actually, we should probably do this here. And then else, we'll have an extra exception here. Failed to prep master user record. Just in case this whole thing fails for whatever reason. Okay. I think that should basically be it. So, test 1, test 2. Okay, unidentified array key master user email. Right, because we have to reload the web page because the name attribute has changed. I could have just edited the HTML there. That's fine. Okay. Test 1, test 2. Unidentified variable DB username. Line 170. DB name, but it's talking about DB username. Ah. DB username is from the file. Interesting. Okay, fair enough. Ah, the button is blocked. Let's quickly fix this. Ah, okay, master user recorded. User registered, type good, which means Taskanator, user base. Ah, nice. Hash password. We got username, first name, last name, email. Yeah, we don't have any sort of checks or parsing on it just yet. What else do we need? I'm pretty sure there should be only one owner for the entire Taskanator board. Again, this is not Trello. This is not meant to be like a service that you sell to other people. Although you technically could if you instance it and just make it copy paste the Taskanator files into a new folder. But yeah, that's besides the point. This is not a service. This is a personal or personal project, personal small team to-do task management system. So there should be only one owner. Right. Because if we go here we do a little sneaky here, and then do this again, we'll get a second one. Now we've got 2 master users. Not good. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. In the table of user base, after first name, last name, we're gonna make another one called type. And then var char 255, doesn't have to be that long. And default value is going to be, I guess this is master. No. No. Let's do this. We're going to keep it here. There's no default master. That would not be good. Because then when you create additional users, if you're not careful, or I'm not careful, we're going to end up creating 2 masters because that's just the default value of it. So let's do default of, I guess, just user. Okay, and then here, where is it? User base type right here. So we are going to make sure that when we make a record, which is right here, when we register the user, we're going to say type. This is going to be master. Okay, now make sure no other master user exists already, so that the setup page could not be used to create another user. Usually what I've seen web applications do is after the setup is done, there's a command, hey, Anduan, welcome. Haven't seen your message. Excuse me. Yeah, so usually what those tools do is they quite literally destroy the setup page off of the server files, which is one way to do it, I guess, I suppose. Okay, make sure there's no user here. So let's do if stmt mysqli prepare connection. Just gonna double check something real quick. Cool. Okay, I don't have any other things to do today. Okay, so we're gonna prepare select from user base any values, select ID from user base where type is master. MySQLi, stmt bind parameter, stmt. So in the statement, we're going to bind one. Well, there's nothing to bind, actually. Which means it technically doesn't have to be a prepared statement, but whatever. MySQLi, stmt, execute. Right, yeah, that's fine. We do need to make sure that we don't create the same user with the same credentials again. That is going to be done separately. For now, we just need to make sure there isn't already a user account, a master account in the database. Okay. This is not a function. Cool. So MySQLi stmt execute, and then MySQLi stmt bind store result. We don't really care about getting the data. We just want to know how many records are there. And then if MySQLi stmt num rows stmt more than 0, then it's a bad response. Okay. Master user already registered. Existing master user. Bad. And then technically we need to skedaddle right away. We don't need to run anything else. Cool. Okay, then make sure this user, make sure a user with this email, first name and last name can repeat. I think that's fine. As long as the email, there isn't a user with the same email. That's important. Okay. Does not already exist. Okay, now this, same concept. We do need to make sure we close statements, however. MySQLi, STMT, close. Okay, because we can't perform another statement until we close the previous statement. Cool. So, select ID from user base, where email is placeholder, MySQLi, STMT bind parameter. To the statement, we're going to bind a string parameter. Good day. Good day, Caddy. It's a string parameter, and then we're just going to attach the, what is it? New master user email. Which is right here. Okay. That should be fine. So, user with this email already registered. Email duplicate user. Bad, and we exit. Okay, good. Now, there was something else that was literally just on my mind that I wanted to do. Right, email, parse email. Let's see, PHP parse email. Verify email, excuse me. Need to verify email. Filter var. Looks like what we can use. Or regular expressions. We can use that. Okay, let's go over here. Make sure email is valid. Format it, at least. Okay. So new master user email. Provide this here. And then if it's not, the message text, master user email is malformed. Bad email formatting. And then we exit right away. Another thing, password criteria. Okay. Password requirements. Let's see. Okay, so minimum length 8 characters, maybe 12. Uppercase, at least one uppercase, at least one lowercase, and at least one digit. Okay, so we can do make sure password is secure. Big fat quotations. Okay, so pattern This is where we're gonna do master password. Pattern is provided. And then if not matching, then we do this. Password insufficient. Bad password. Okay. Yeah, this is not really very communicative of the requirements. But yeah, we'll work with this for the time being. Okay, I think that's basically it. Right? So, first of all, we already have a user here. So if I do this, we need to get rid of one of these. Oh yeah, we actually need to get rid of the whole thing because the table has been altered. Ready? Create the table. Tables and database. Failed to initialize. User base table failed to create. Uh-huh. We have an issue. User base. Is it because the default value is messed up? Type. User type. Maybe type is a reserved keyword. It did create some stuff, though. Nope, still the same. I have a feeling it's because of the default value. Because we haven't really added anything else. Okay, well now it's good. So it is the default value. Okay, let's see. MySQLi create table default value. Maybe it's got to be, okay, got it. It's got to be between single quotes. Okay, go away. Mm-hmm. Cool. Yes. That's good. And now, so let's check for the errors. Email malformed. Okay, so at gmail.com. We should probably have it unblock the button every time an incorrect entry is made. Bad email formatting. Bad email formatting. Okay, so here's what we can do. Var JSON response. We're gonna parse the data, get an object if MSG code is. I suppose that we can only keep the button blocked if the registration was correct. Hey, Steven. Bad email formatting. Okay, so I'm gonna take this button. Actually, we need to know what message code we get in return if it is successful. So initialized. No, it's this one. So user registered. Okay. If it's user registered, it keeps it blocked. Every other reason it stays unblocked. Okay, so if it is user registered, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna block it, or false. We're gonna unblock it and then block it right away if the user registered is true, because it doesn't need to be here. Okay. Let's take this. Okay. Test@gmail.com. I'm just going to do an incorrect password. And then password insufficient. Okay, so we're going to do this password. Oh. Really? Really, LastPass? Really? Okay. LastPass is like everything needs a password. Uncaught MySQL exception. Unknown column type. Right. We updated the name of it. It's user type now. Where was this? Type where clause 200. And then user type here. All right. Believe this should still work. It passed the password check. Master user recorded. Aha. Now. If I do this again. Master user already registered. That's good. And then... Oh, that's it. So it would just block this particular entry. Cool. Cool beans. So, technically, this is it. This is the entire initial setup. It's done. We have 4, 5 tables. Boards, columns, notes, ownership. More can come in later on. Like we can assign users to notes. We can assign... Within notes, we'll probably have tasks as well. To-do lists and tasks. So those can be assigned to individual users. Maybe the individual tasks could be assigned to users. So we'll need a table for tasks and table for individual task listings. I think for the most part that's all there is to it. We'll probably be adding additional columns to these tables as we need. Mostly like notes will have to have coloring, which I think we already have. Note color, yes. But I also want to be able to assign labels to them, which I think is just going to be like an array that we can put into each note. Yeah, that should be good. And that's basically it. I don't think we're going to need any relative databases here. Cool. All right. So, I think this is it. We can wrap it up here. There will be more to be done, but I think this is the bulk of the most trickiest stuff because it's like creating tables. I've not done that through code before. Nothing difficult, but you know, I had to tread this for the first time. And yeah, after this is just creating boards, um, creating columns in boards, notes in columns, and then once we get to the to-do lists, we'll be able to handle that way. Cool. All right. So that's it. We'll wrap it up here and then continue in the next session. Cool. All right, fellas. We'll get this done. It will be hopefully it will just be a weekend project. Get it done quick.